Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm just going to read, I'm not going to read the whole of chapter 3. I'm just going to read the first part of chapter 3 in my book. I'm just continuing. So this is the first part in my Gaia series. It's called Sibilus and the 7 Objects of Culture. And yes, it has a blank front, but we have the title here and we have that on the back. So, all right. So I'm just going to read the first part of chapter 3. So this is a hexagram from the I Ching. So it says, her father let go of her shoulders. The sensory parade had invaded his daughter's personal space. The cymbal crashed loudly, and the beetle crawled up her leg to her neck. Vetiver crossed his arms and stared at Sibilus. The 7 objects of culture will turn into charms shortly, now that you have released them. After he spoke, the procession of objects bristled and morphed into silver baubles that fell to her feet. The open belly of the globe began slowly to recover its previous form. Its lights had gone out, and the geography it had displayed was disappearing. The spidery creature at the top did not turn back into a key, but rather skittered up Sibilus's arm and onto her shoulder. She bent down, gathered the silver charms into her hand, and put them in the pocket of her black jeans. There was a bell, a lightning bolt, a bust of a strange-looking woman, a 7-pointed star, a question mark, a chalice, and what looked like a face with too many eyes. "Father, what did I do?" He seemed not to hear her, and instead said after an elongated silence, "We must get to your mother's before it is too late. Sibilus, come with me. You do not understand the gravity of what you have just done." He rushed out of the library into the hallway and down the carpeted stairs. She quickly made to follow in her father's wake. When they reached the main entry hall, Vetiver rang for the butler on the intercom to bring them their coats and hail a cab. Sibilus was dressed in black from head to ankle. She put on her bright red sneakers as they waited by the door. They were to be the only exception to her monochrome. The butler came out with her puffy jacket and her father's cashmere overcoat. They put the outerwear on quickly and stepped outside into the taxi that was waiting for them. Her father directed the driver to Park Avenue between 74th and 75th Streets. "Dad, are you mad at me?" Sibilus scanned him carefully from the back seat of the cab. The buildings passed by in a blur behind his head. Her father didn't answer right away. He was silent for most of the ride. As they approached their destination, Vetiver realized that he was not mad at his daughter, but rather shocked, and still waiting for her to answer his question. The taxi pulled up in front of his wife's building, the mother of his most recent child. They had become so estranged after what was referred to as the accident. He wondered if the nurse he had supplied for her would be in the apartment. "No, Sibilus, I am not mad. Actually, I am impressed. I never thought you would guess right. I underestimated you, but I'm still waiting for you to tell me who tipped you off." The cab had pulled up to the curb. Her father paid the driver and exited the back seat like a stray bullet shot into a quietly darkening sky. "But we must hurry now. You have no idea the dire implications of the release of the 7 objects of culture." She scooted out and slammed the door behind her, running to catch up with her father, who had already pushed past the huddle of doormen and into the waiting elevator. They rode up to the 2nd floor, which opened directly into the personal landing of his strange wife's apartment. Vetiver did not bother to knock, and when he had entered the unlocked door, he went straight for the living room. Sibilus followed him, but stopped abruptly beneath the French doors. She watched her father from afar as he inspected the 2 new additions to the red-walled room hardly ever used by her mother. "Dad, what? Dad, what you are examining? Why are there 2 statues here? I've never seen them before." Vetiver Decor turned away from the bronze torso of a young girl with an oversized head seated awkwardly atop the grand piano and made as if to check the pulse of the imposing marble anatomy standing next to the window. "Nurse Hydia, I assigned you to look after my wife, but I see you couldn't fulfill your duty. A statue you are again. I wasn't expecting the unleashing of the 7 objects to return you back to your original lifeless form. Vetiver spoke calmly at the sculpture's pristine marble face. Dad, what are you talking about? Mom's nurse Hygia is a nice lady, not a statue. Are you going crazy? Where's Mom? Well, daughter, Hygia, whose identity I just clearly iterated, has transformed of the flesh and blood leporum I put on her and back into marble, her material of origin. And your mother, her father's voice trailed off as he turned back to the statue sitting awkwardly on the grand piano, is Alice here. He took the hand of the outstretched arm of the inelegant young bronze figurine. He looked at his daughter, meek all of a sudden. You see, your mother was once upon a time a statue also. It was her original form as well, just the same as Hygia. He let go of Alice's hand and glumly walked toward Sibilus. It is an ancient curse, and it's all because of me. Their punishment comes from nothing other than being associated with the likes of my heart-eating self. Her father's voice floundered, as if he was about to be overtaken by grief. After a few moments of silence, Vetiver shifted his tone. He squinted his eyes at his daughter. How on earth did you find out the word that unlocks the globe? It is because you did that. Your mother is gone. Releasing the 7 objects of culture into the world has lessened my power. Things that I had carefully put into place are now undone. For example, your mother. I am the one who cast her out of her original lifeless form into the beautiful woman she became. It is my special way of magic. To make carved, lifeless bodies into real flesh and blood. Her father had a faraway look in his eyes, and his voice had taken on a cold, harsh, and intimidating authority. Hold on, tell me, who told you that the utterance to open my globe was the Chinese character Ko? The 49th hexagram from the I Ching, according to King Wen's arrangement. It is important that I know. It seems there are more forces against the structures I have set up than I realized. Sibilus closed her eyes and thought back to the last time she had been with her mother. It had been the night before at dinner, high above the Rockefeller ice skating rink, looking down upon all the tourists there to see the tree. She had picked at her Caesar salad, barely able to eat one bite. She had been in a state of silent confusion over what had occurred when Athena, her father's maid, had dropped her off in front of the sculpture of Atlas to wait for her mother. It had all happened so fast. It could not have been more than 5 minutes that she had been left alone. The statue's inflated muscles were cast in bronze, and he was stuck holding up the world in miniature. Sibilus had felt bad for him. She had turned around to look into his eyes, and much to her surprise, Atlas had spoken to her in a hoary whisper. Psst, Sibilus. She had scanned his moving mouth while quickly catching glimpses to see if the herds of people ducking and dodging about were watching. The word is the Chinese character Ko, the statue had proclaimed. It's the trick. To unlock the globe, say it out loud. Say Ko. Sibilus opened her eyes and came back from the memory. She felt in her heart that her father must be playing an ornate prank on her. You're lying, Dad. Magic is not real. Her father chuckled. Well, Sibilus, you're partially right. It's mainly not magic. Mostly, it's a curse. How sharp of you to realize the difference. You insult my intelligence. She didn't like it when he mocked her. Be that as it may, I can assure you I am not lying. But you don't have to, believe me. You'll soon be seeing for yourself. What did you do with Mom? Her father sat down on the arm of the chair in his wife's living room. He sighed before letting himself sink down into the depth of the seat. His daughter sneered at him. She had spread out her limbs in languid haphazard on the creamy floral satin of the chase. She looked like a bony black panther, uncomfortably digesting an intruder of the jungle. The two sat in silence while the rapid sounds of the city echoed around them in emptiness from the caverns surrounding Park Avenue. Eventually, Sibilus nodded off, exhaling hissing snores of contempt in her sleep. Her father stayed awake, formulating the course of action that would need to take place considering the chain of events that his daughter and her precocious perception had set into miserably unforgiving motion. At dawn, Vetiver shook her out of sleep. Her eyes opened like two stones that had never before known they possessed that with which to see the shadows. The room was shrouded in dim light. The island of Manhattan hinted at sunrise. Now, dear, do you have any things here at your mother's? A few things. We are going to have to get you out of the city. Get me out of the city? I don't want to leave. I'm not ready to leave New York. Well, that is too bad, because you have to. He's after you now. Dad, stop lying. Who is he? My darling daughter, I will spare you the details, but you are in danger. He is going to come after you. He has been awakened from his slumber. You are not safe in New York anymore, for if he finds you, Sibilus, he will eat you. Her father looked at the creeping daylight sharpening the interior of his wife's living room. What? Come on, please. I'm 8 already. Stop with this nonsense. She could no longer deny the utter absurdity of her father's words. She laughed nervously and moved from the couch to the floor. Never say I didn't warn you. Okay. I will go along with your charade. I do not have a lot here. Probably a trunk full of books and a small suitcase of clothing. Hurry! We have one stop left before I get Harry to drive you to your godfather's. I have a plan, although given the gravity of what you just did, who knows if all will go accordingly. You're sending me to my godfather's hotel in Salamander Hill. Yes, my dear, in Salamander Hill. Tell me now, who told you what to say to open the globe? Sibilus paused. She was reluctant to share this piece of information with her father, but was getting tired of holding out. You're playing some kind of crazy prank on me. I know it. I heard the word from the sculpture of Atlas holding up the representation of the world in Rockefeller Center. Her father sighed. A puzzled look crossed his face. It seems the statues have turned against me. He eyed the marble Hygia and the bronze young girl he had referred to as Alice across the room. The magic syllable to open the globe has set into motion exactly what it means. Revolution, and not a small one at that. Sibilus, you are in danger. No more questions for now. Do as I say and do it fast. All right, so that's the first part of chapter 3. All right, I'll read the second part of chapter 3 tomorrow. I'm trying to get back in the habit of reading my book. Mainly it's for me, but if you enjoy it, well, good. Buy it. Thanks.